Hi everybody, it's Kristen again. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for still sticking around if you did to wait for this video, and I deeply apologize for the amount of time that it's taken for me to get this up. I know I had several requests for it and people were needing to see this, and I've had to spend some time away from YouTube because of some ongoing health issues, which has changed a lot of situations in my life. It's changed my job situation, it's changed my living situation, it's changed almost everything. And it's deeply impacted me, which has kept me from being able to upload videos routinely. So I really apologize for the amount of time that some of you have had to wait, especially if you're just beginning and you started the Outlander Cowl and you just didn't know how to finish it. And I feel personally responsible that I didn't show something sooner. So I really apologize for that, and I'm glad you're here, and we're going to get right into it. So in this video, in a few short seconds, I'm going to show you how to bind together the two ends of your Outlander Cowl. If you're not working on the Outlander Cowl and you didn't come from that video and you just want to bind together two ends of a bulky looking scarf or cowl, then this video will hopefully help you with that. I want to go ahead and throw a disclaimer that the best way to cast on when you do these is the long tail cast on method, because it creates tighter stitches that are going to help prevent you from having holes in the finished product when you sew it together. So that's my preferred cast on method, and for this demo, the little piece that I made up to show you in this video, I did the long tail cast on, and it made it a lot easier. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. I really hope this helps. Thanks guys. Okay, so what you're going to need to finish this off, bind off, and sew together your ends are your other needle, a pair of scissors, I think these are kitchen scissors, oops, and a crochet hook. Now the crochet hook needs to be the biggest size that you have, preferably, and this is the biggest size I have, which is a K. And any size will do. You can just, it'll be a little harder to wrap it, but I can make it work with this size. So largest size crochet hook. Okay, so what I've done is I've made a sample version, and what I've got here is 10 stitches, and I know you're going to have a lot more stitches on your Outlander Cowl, but this is just for the purpose of the video. So this is my last row, and I'm going to show you how I bind off. We want a really tight bind off, if that makes any sense, and I'll show you how to get it as tight as possible so that there is less gaping space or less loose holes kind of in your work when we tie these together. So I also have a really good trick that's going to keep, now this end is going to be tighter, but the cast off end is going to be looser, and I have a trick to make them look uniform once they're sewn together. I did want to bring up something really quickly, and that is that my cast on end is cast on with the long tail cast on method. So that created tighter stitches, and this is going to help also with the with it being tight instead of holey at the end. So anyway, here we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and bind off. So what I'm going to do to make these really tight is pull quite tight as I wrap it around the needle. So you're pulling tight around this back needle. So as that's snug, you're gonna, knit 2 stitches, pull the first stitch over the second stitch, knit another stitch, pull this kind of tight, pull the first stitch over the second stitch. Okay, I'll do this one more time. Knit that stitch, wrap this kind of tight around the back stitch, pull the first stitch over the second stitch. So we're starting to bind off here. So I'm going to finish this up and get back with you. Okay, this is our last stitch. So I'm going to put this through. The last stitch will be kind of loose, that's totally fine. Wrap that kind of tight, pull that first stitch over the second stitch. So now we've got this loop that goes through your last stitches, and this is your working yarn, and this is your open loop. Be careful and don't let this pull through or you're going to lose it. Now with this, holding this loop, you've got all your working yarn here. What you need to do is hold your working yarn up against the end of your work here, and make sure you have enough to cover the end plus about like 4 more inches. So got a few more inches. Gonna cut this off. Wow, those are some bad kitchen scissors at that, aren't they? Okay. Now, with your loop here and your working yarn here, take the working yarn and pull it through the loop. Now we've tied it up. Alright, I understand this is really, really big right here, but we're going to do some stuff to fix that. So, okay, we've got both our ends. Now, at this point, if you want to put a twist in, this is where you're going to do it. You would just put one twist and bring your ends up together like this. But because in this one, I'm just feeling different and I'm not going to put a twist in this one. You're going to put your ends up together. And as you can see, if this is one of your first times doing this, I would suggest practicing on some scrap pieces before you do your actual piece. But you're going to notice here that your stitches are going to match up. Now they're different, you know, as my cast on stitches were long tail cast on, so they're tighter than the finishing stitches, but they're going to correspond. This one to that one, 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 and so on and so forth. So this is my long tail here that I'm going to use to pull through, and you want this to be on the back side because we're going to put our hook in front, like forward ways, and we're going to be pulling this working yarn through the front each time. So we want this long tail to be in the back. Okay, what in the world is that? I'm going to go through my first stitch, and you're going to notice that the ones on the front are the really loose ones that we cast off with, and the ones in the back are the long tail cast on, which are the tighter stitches. So in the front, you're going to take your first 4 stitches, which are right here, and instead of going through all 4 of these, if you go through all 4 of these, you're going to create a hole, and it's going to be a really big hole. Same as if you go through all 4 of these, you're going to have these big holes all the way along. So instead of doing that, I've developed this way, and what we're going to do is you've got 4 stitches here, go through the first stitch and the third stitch. So we're going to go through the first. Why are these cooperating? First and third. Now when we hold this up, the corresponding stitch, you've got all these corresponding stitches. That one to that one, that one to that one, that one to that one. You just follow as you go along. So instead of, we're going to just go through those 2. Now we're going to wrap this here, pull through that, and pull through that first and third that you did the first time. Now you're going to take your tail and pull it all the way through. You've done your first one. Now the scarf is that way, flip it around this way, because now we're going to be reaching through these stitches to pull this back through the other side. So here is your stitches. Now you've gone through that one. You can see you've gone through this first one here. So the second one would be these right here. Now because these are the tighter ones, you want to go under all of those. Go under all, because that's not going to make a difference. It's going to be really tight. Now this way is a little bit different. You've got 4 loops here, okay? But instead of going through the first and third, you're going to go through the second and fourth. Second and fourth. Take this yarn and pull through. Okay? Now we're going to turn the work again. Okay. And you can see you went through that one. So the next one's going to be this one here. Here's your 4. Go through the first and third. And now this row is the one with 4 of the cast on stitches that were really tight. So just put them through all of those. Wrap this tail around your hook and pull through all your loops. There they are here, and now you'll just pull them through. Okay, now we're going to turn it around again. Now the tight loops, put them through all. Here's your 4 again on the other side, and instead of the first and third, again we do the second and fourth. Wrap, pull through. Okay, turn it around. Okay, here are your loose stitches right here. So we're going to do the first and third and go through all 4 of those back stitches. Wrap and pull through. Okay, turn. Okay, here are our tight 4 stitches. Put that hook through all 4. There we go. Here's our next set of 4 right here. That matches up to that one. So, and then instead of the first and third, we do second and fourth. Pull through. Okay, now we've got our loose ones here. Put through first and third. And then we're going to put through all 4 of our tight loops. Pull through. Okay, turn again. Then we've got our tight loops. We're going to put it through all of those. Here's our 4 here. We're going to put it through the second and fourth. Pull. Turn again. If you open it up and see where your yarn is coming through, you can see which holes it went through first. That will help a lot. Now here is your looser ones. Again, first and third. All 4 of the back ones. Hook and pull through. Okay, we're coming up on the last one here. So here are our tighter ones, and this is very loose, so this is going to be a little bit different here. You're going to have to just see what you're left with when you come to the end. It might not even look the same as mine. It might look pretty different. But what you want to try to do is just take 4 loops, 4 threads of yarn. There's 2 here, whatever you can find. And then again do the second and fourth and pull through. Okay. You can pull this out too, because we've gone through to the very end. And you'll kind of notice what you get is like a zigzag kind of pattern. That's totally normal. And you can see here when you stretch it, we're not noticing any big holes. Looks pretty good. So, okay, here what you have, if you don't want this dip in here, then you can pull this through some more yarn on this side. Here is your tail over here on this side, and we've pulled it all the way through. And here's your other tail. What you do with this other tail is just weave this in. You can either use a tapestry needle or you can use your crochet hook. Just make sure it's woven in pretty well to all this stuff, and then just pull it so that all the yarn settles where it's going to go and it's not going to come out, and then just trim it off. And you'll do the same thing with this one, but basically what you can do over here if you're bothered by this hole here is just come from this side. And you kind of have to, I mean, there's no real science to this. You really just have to look at what you've got and put it through some of your tightest loops. So I guess what I'll do is put it through these 2 and then maybe just wrap that through and pull it through here. And then that looks better. It's not, there's no dip there. Now you want to tie this off, because if you don't tie this to something, it's going to just come unwoven. So I'm going to tie this to this loop here by just looping it through. And just kind of make a knot in it. Pull that tight, and you've just made a knot. All you did was just tie it around it. Now this is not going to matter at all, because this is the seam, and this is at the very back of your work. The seam is most often, you know, you're going to have it rolled or twisted or something, and the seam's going to be totally covered up. Most often the seam's going to be in the back where some hair covers it. No one's going to be peeking back, like at the back of your neck, to see how you know, oh my gosh, how did you sew that up? I see flaws. You know, like, I doubt people are going to be creeping around with magnifying glasses trying to find flaws in your work. So don't worry about this. And I think that the way of grabbing
grabbing all that yarn really worked. The way I grabbed the first and third and the second and fourth loops on that bind off edge that was looser than the cast on edge. So I think that worked out pretty well. Now all you'll do with this is just, and I'll just kind of demonstrate this really quickly. If all you're going to do here is just pull this through some loops. That's not wanting to come through, so I'm going to pull it through with my fingers. Pull it through here. And then just come through here. And just keep pulling it through loops that looks like it goes in the same direction as the way you knitted it. And then just stretch it out real good. And you can even, you know, if you want it to be even more discreet, you can even flip it around to the inside and pull that tail to the inside and then cut it off.
Alright, so here we have the finished product, the finished result, and this is how it looks. I haven't sewn in my ends yet, so that one's dangling there, but you can see that is how it looks when we sewed it together. And when you kind of put it all together, it kind of blends in. Can't really tell. I think it kind of disguises it pretty well. And surprisingly, I didn't mean to make anything. I just started knitting just a piece just so I could show you guys how to put it together. And I ended up actually making a cowl. Which, hey, bonus to me and everything. But I didn't really mean to make this, but I kind of did. So here's a cute little bonus cowl. And this took me like 10 minutes. And I'm really not exaggerating. I don't know why. I think it's probably because I only cast on 10 stitches, but it worked up really fast. So anyway, I hope that showed you that everything comes together okay. I just, as I said kind of in the instructional part, it's not scientific. As far as sewing it together and you're sewing the bulk of it together, you do need to be kind of careful with how you weave it in and everything, especially with the way I came up with on the looser stitches with the first and third and the second and fourth stitch. And if you need that broken down, I'll put that down below. You do have to be kind of careful with that, but on the ends, really it's just a matter of weaving the yarn into discrete places to make it kind of disappear. It's not something that anybody can tell you exactly, where to put it to hide it. It's just whatever you think. So I really hope that this video helped. Thank you again for being patient with me on coming out with it, and let me know if there's anything I can add or any way that I can further this video to make it more useful. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.